Hi, these are my poi that I use. They've got little rechargeable batteries in them and LEDs. And so there they are, the colours. They look pretty spectacular at night. During the day, not so much, they're pretty bland. So I use silk scarves to spice them up during the day. Now, if you're just starting poi, or think it's something that you might want to get into, getting a hold of poi can be difficult and sometimes very expensive to order over the internet. And so I'm hoping with this video I can come up with some alternatives. So I'm going to show you a couple of poi designs that you can make at home. You've got your sock poi, your rag poi, and a couple of weird ones that I've dreamed up: bag poi, string poi, and Banksia poi. I haven't tried these out, let's just see if they work. Okay, for sock poi you'll need a sock. Here I've just got a sleeve because I didn't have any socks. Hockey socks or AFL socks, they're pretty good. Then you need a weight. I'm just using a tennis ball, and we'll start the clock. So put the weight in your sock or your sleeve. Got a knot here at the bottom to stop it coming out. We're just going to tie another knot to stop it coming up the handle. And then another knot at the top, just as something to hold on to. Done! So that was 30 seconds. Probably one of the fastest to make. Rag poi. I've got my rags. I've got the weight again, a tennis ball, and I'm going to use a sock again just to hold the tennis ball, and then I'll tie that onto my length of rags. Alright. So what you got to do with your rags, you need an old shirt, something that will tear up easily into nice strips like this. Yeah, that's pretty easy to tear. Then what you got to do is tie them together. Now, how am I going to do this? I like using this knot. Tie a knot in one, and then tie a knot in the other. Because when you pull them, it actually causes the knots to tighten on each other. So that's not coming loose anytime soon. Oh, it's too short. Alright, it's about long enough. Tie a knot in the top for the handle again. Or you might want to tie a loop. Alright, and then you can tie our sock on. Or maybe if you've got a pocket, does it still have a button? Yeah. If you've got a pocket, maybe you don't need the sock at all. So this fits. Yeah, perfect. There we go. Not the prettiest, but functional. So that was a bit over 3 minutes. You can tie together different coloured bits of material just to make them a bit more colourful. Okay, bag poi. I've got 3 plastic bags, tennis ball again as my weight. Now it doesn't matter if they've got holes in them, but try and get the one that's got the least amount of holes to house your tennis ball so it doesn't come out. Okay, start the timer. I'll put that in this bag and leave it to one side. Now you're going to lie your plastic bag out nice and flat and then fold it up like so. Alright, this top one, we're going to try and keep these handles on the bag to be our finger loops. So I'll just tie a knot at the top. There's my finger loops. Then we're going to tie them together using the same method on the rags. Nice one. We've got a tennis ball in it. Just make sure that's popped into a corner. So I half roll, half fold it up. Tied in a knot to secure the weight. Done. Might be a bit noisy. Yeah. And that was 3 minutes or so. String poi. Got a drill to stick a hole in my tennis ball, some nails and some string. So I'm going to cut off about a bit over 1 metre. Better start the timer. Okay, so if you like just having one big handle, you can just tie one big loop like that. Or if you like the finger loops, I'll just make this loop a bit smaller and leave a bit of a tail to tie another loop with. There we go, 2 finger loops. And now to stick a hole in this, or a couple. So I've just put them too close together and then I've got a bent nail, which hopefully I should be able to pass through. Which oh, not too ambitious, that is possible. Now this might be where it falls apart. Just a bit of a slip knot, which hopefully should go through, but I have my doubts. Nope, not going to cooperate. Alright, I might get a bigger drill bit. Start the timer again. Second attempt, just trying to go straight through this time. Done. 6 minutes. Right, now for my most ambitious design, the banksia design. So I'm going to be using banksia flowers as the weights. And then this is cordyline leaves, very fibrous leaves, and I'm going to try and make a cord or some rope out of this. Now instead of cordyline you could use anything that's really fibrous sort of plant material. Don't use sedges because sedges have edges, sharp edges. If you make the string out of that, it'll look like you put your hand in a blender. Okay, got 3 pieces there. Now I'm sure there's a better way to do this, but I'm just going to plait it to make my cord. So what I've tried to get here is the knots in different places, so if they're at the same length it's going to create a weak point there, so I've tried to spread out those weak points. So there is my string. Any luck it won't. Okay, that looks pretty good. Okay. Now banksias. Not entirely sure how this is going to work. Let's try putting a hole through. Yeah, that's not going to work. Alright, different idea. Just nibble away some of that brush, and we're going to secure it around there. Hopefully that'll stay on. Alright, not sure how stable it's going to be, because it's best to have it centered where the cord's coming off. But there you go, banksia boy. How long did that take? 8.5 minutes. So here we have the sock poi and the rag poi. And they're pretty good to use. So sock poi were one of the fastest to make. Don't require that many materials, just needed a tennis ball or some sort of weight. You could use a balloon full of maybe sand or rice, and a sock or a sleeve. It doesn't require any hammers, nails or anything to make it. You just tie 3 knots and it's done. Don't use stockings if you're going to make these, because you don't want the material to be too stretchy, because then it just lengthens when you swing it faster, and you want them to stay the same length. The rag poi came out a lot easier than I thought it would. I thought I'd have to do some complex thing with tying a sock onto the end. So if you've got a pocket in a shirt, it can make rag poi pretty easily to make. You could use different coloured t-shirts and stuff, tying them together to make them a bit more colourful. I'm just concerned with how strong it is, just with how easy this material was to tear. See, that's not going to last. But if you knot the material more, maybe you'll end up with stronger poi. Then we've got our string poi, which are a lot harder than I thought. I thought this would be one of the easiest designs, just a piece of string and a tennis ball. Pretty easy to use. This twine's a bit coarse on the hands, and with all these designs they're all missing a swivel, which is this thing, which when you spin stuff around, the cord slowly coils up and tightens, but with this swivel you don't get any of that happening. So that's something you could introduce into any of these designs, but it'd make it a bit more complex to make. Drilling through the ball wasn't the best idea. It's really cut it up. It doesn't look like it'll last. It's a lot more difficult than I first thought. An alternative might be a design like this, where you just tie it around the ball, which I'm a bit concerned that it might be able to slip out, which it can. So I don't think that's a good idea either. What else have we got? The bag poi. So same with the rags, you could use different coloured bags to make your poi a bit more interesting. I'll just pop the string poi in there so I've got my weight back again. Oop. Get in my bag. Alright, there we go. Let's give these a whirl. That's pretty good. Feels pretty durable. That's definitely a pro. Cons are it's a bit noisy. And another thing is these plastic shopping bags have Woolworths and Coles have stopped supplying those, which is I guess a good thing for the environment, but bad if you wanted to be making these. Another pro is these finger loops. I'm a big fan of finger loops, and they're pretty easy to make with the shopping bag design. Alright, and our last design, the banks here with the twine. Quite time consuming to make, so that's a con, but a pro, it looks pretty good. This flower though will deteriorate, so it won't be looking pretty in a couple of days. It's because of the brush, it makes it quite soft, so when you hit yourself when you're practicing poi, which is bound to happen, it's not going to hurt too much. This twine feels pretty durable. It's going to last. It's a lot lighter than the plastic bag poi. That's a bit heavier, which is nicer to move. This poi is a bit light. And I can feel, again, because it doesn't have that swivel, that it's coiling up that twine, and I'm not sure. That's slowly going to weaken it. I'll probably end up breaking. Yeah, there's one. So these were a couple of designs.